Win the lottery, launch a tech startup, hit it big in the stock market. That's what it takes to become a millionaire, right? Here's the good news. None of that is true. You can become a millionaire without earning a six-figure income. You can start taking steps today from right where you are, and you don't need a financial miracle. You need a system that works. Hey everyone, I'm Rose Colburn. I'm a holistic wealth coach and speaker, and I work with people just like you to walk through the real life process of building wealth and financial freedom. And I'm walking that same path myself. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 exact moves I'd make if I were starting right now to become a millionaire in 2026. Not things like saving more, not just tightening up the budget, but making decisions that actually change the direction of your finances long term. If you want to become a millionaire in 2026, this video is where you need to start. So if you're serious about turning your finances around this year or laying the foundation for any major financial goal, I invite you to hit that subscribe button. I show up here every week with grounded, practical videos like this one to help you stop waiting for someday and start building the life you actually want today. So let's talk about millionaire move number 1. Set a wealth target and work it like it's a project. Here's the first move I'd make if I wanted to become a millionaire in 2026. I'd stop winging it and start treating my wealth like a real project with a deadline. That means setting a clear target for where I want my finances to be and then building a simple plan to get there. Because here's what I've seen over and over again, both in my life and with my clients. Most people say they want financial freedom, but they never define what that actually looks like. They're hoping things will get better. They're waiting for more income, more time, or some big breakthrough. But without a defined destination, it's almost impossible to measure progress or know when and where you're off track. If I were starting from scratch, here's what I would do. I'd pick one target that represents real forward momentum. That could be increasing my net worth by $10,000, paying off a specific debt, saving my first 5 grand, investing consistently every month, starting a small side business and making my first 2 grand. It doesn't have to be flashy. It just has to be a clear, defined goal. Then I'd break that goal into smaller benchmarks. I'd track them, adjust them, and check in regularly like it was a performance review, not to shame myself, but to stay focused and in motion, because this is what millionaires do differently. They don't wait for permission. They don't make emotional money decisions in the dark, and they don't rely on someday. They make a plan, they work the plan, and they stay in relationship with their money, even when it's uncomfortable. Millionaire move number 2. Get ruthless with your cash leaks. All right, let's talk about the second move that I would make if I wanted to become a millionaire in 2026. I'd get absolutely ruthless about cleaning up my financial foundation. And I don't mean cutting back on lattes, tracking every penny for the next 12 months. I mean identifying where the money is leaking out of your life every single month and patching the holes fast. The truth is, most people don't have an income problem. They have an awareness problem. Money's coming in, but it's slipping through the cracks before it ever gets a chance to build anything. I can't tell you how many people I've coached who swear that they're living paycheck to paycheck, only to find hundreds of dollars every month just flying out of their account that they didn't even remember they were paying for. It's not about being irresponsible. It's about not having visibility. So, if this were me starting from scratch, I would take a hard look at my finances and ask a few questions. Do I have subscriptions I forgot about? Are there auto payments that are running for things that I don't even use anymore? Am I sending 20 bucks to Netflix every month and I haven't watched a movie since July? Yeah, I canceled my Netflix subscription recently. And let's not forget lifestyle creep, the slow and sneaky trap of upgrading things you don't need just because you can. Get a raise, and suddenly your groceries cost more. Your takeout budget doubles. You're treating yourself every Friday and maybe Saturday too. And it all adds up fast. This is how people who look successful end up broke. They've got the car, the super fun weekend trips, the endless Amazon orders, the cute little outfits, and the skincare hauls, and nothing to show for it by the end of the month. No savings, no investments, no margin, no breathing room. So here's exactly what I would do first. I'd pull my last 90 days of bank statements and I would go line by line, not to make myself feel guilty, but to figure out where my money is actually going automatically without me realizing it. I'd cancel or cut anything that doesn't align with my goals, and I would give every dollar a job, saving, investing, creating room for growth and opportunities instead of just disappearing. Because once you clean up the leaks, something powerful happens. You stop guessing, you stop feeling behind, and you start seeing what you actually have to work with. And that's when you can finally build something that lasts. Millionaire move number 3, increase what you bring in without burnout. Here's the truth: you can't make your way to millionaire status on a broken income. Taking a hard look at what I'm bringing in every month would be the next step that I would take to put me on the path of becoming a millionaire in 2026. And there's one question I would ask myself: is my income actually enough to build wealth? Not to survive, not to coast, not to scrape by, but to build real wealth. And if the answer is no, I'd make sure I was taking steps to change that. Not by adding 20 hours of side hustles, not by working myself into the ground, but by getting smarter about how I earn money. This is where most people get stuck, especially if you're already working full time, managing a family, or dealing with burnout from doing too much for too long. But the shift does not have to be massive. There are always ways to increase your baseline income, and it doesn't have to mean chasing 5 different side hustles. It starts with one powerful change: stop trading time for money at the lowest rate possible. If you have a traditional 9 to 5 job or whatever your hours are, think about negotiating a raise, switching to a higher paying job, or using the skills you have to create easy income streams outside your wages. This could be something like offering tutoring, consulting, delivery driving on your schedule, or selling templates online. Anything with a low barrier to entry that pays better than minimum wage. If you're freelancing or you're self employed, consider raising your prices, restructuring your packages, or finding ways to sell the same thing to more people at once without adding more time to your calendar. Sometimes that means selling digital products. Sometimes it's group sessions instead of one on one. Sometimes it's just realizing you've been undercharging for years. And if you're just getting started, learn a skill that gives you leverage, not just a job skill, a money skill, something that moves you out of survival mode and into strategy mode. Let me tell you something here. The goal here isn't just to make more money. The goal is to increase your earning potential so more of the money you make can be redirected towards wealth instead of getting swallowed up by bills. And here's the best part: even a few $100s a month can completely change the game when you're building towards financial freedom. But you can't redirect income that doesn't exist, and you can't build wealth if you're barely just getting by. So if I were starting today, this would be the next millionaire move that I would make. Not hustling, just increasing my ability to earn more and leverage my skills to build wealth. Millionaire move number 4: give your money a job. One of the biggest differences between people who become a millionaire and those who don't is how millionaires treat the money that they're not spending. Millionaires don't let their money sit around with no plan. Here's the secret: every single dollar has a job, not just a vague intention, not just a category in a spreadsheet that's forgotten about. A real job with direction, with purpose. Because here's what happens when you don't assign your money a job: it disappears. You think you've got a little cushion in your checking, but 3 Target runs later and 2 dinners out, it's gone. You meant to save it, you meant to invest it, but it never made it that far. This is where so many people lose momentum, especially when they're finally earning a little more. More money shows up, and without a clear plan, it gets absorbed into lifestyle. The upgrade trap kicks in, and before you know it, you're working harder, earning more, and still stuck. So, if I wanted to get serious about building wealth in 2026, this is exactly what I'd do. I'd set up a simple money system that tells every dollar where to go the moment it arrives. Some would go to savings, some would go to investing, some would cover bills and essentials, some would go to things that make it easier and more enjoyable to live my life, but nothing would just sit there waiting for me to decide what to do about it later. Because when you wait, that decision gets made for you by your habits, by your emotions, and by your impulse spending. I'm not saying that it has to be perfect. I'm saying it has to be intentional. And you don't need a complicated app or some budgeting system with a million different rules. You just need a little bit of clarity. You need a way to move your money on purpose and check in with it regularly. And this is how you start to feel in control, not just budgeting to survive, but managing your money like someone who's building wealth on purpose. If I were starting today, I wouldn't let another dollar hit my account without knowing what it's supposed to do, because that's what shifts you from reacting to leading. And that's the difference between money that keeps you feeling broke and a money system that builds financial freedom. Millionaire move number 5: shift from saver to builder. And I'm not talking about the real estate tycoon kind of builder. I'm talking about the kind of builder who grows their money steadily, slowly, and strategically. Saving money is a great starting point. But if I wanted to become a millionaire in 2026, I wouldn't stop at saving. I'd focus on owning, because here's the hard truth: you can't save your way to wealth. Saving protects you, but it doesn't increase your wealth potential. At best, it keeps you where you are. And if inflation keeps climbing while your savings sit still, you're not just staying where you are, you're quietly falling behind. When I first started building my own financial foundation, I thought saving was a safe path. And for a while it was. But eventually I realized saving didn't give me momentum, it just gave me a little bit of a cushion, it gave me peace of mind. It didn't move the needle forward to take me towards where I wanted to go. So what would I do instead? I'd still build my emergency fund, yes. I'd still have buffers for life and business, but I would also start increasing my assets. Assets are things that hold value, that increase over time, that you earn money from, even when you're not working. That could mean investing in index funds, buying fractional shares, starting a business that solves a real problem, learning a skill that lets you charge more and keeps paying you for years. The specific asset doesn't matter as much as the shift in thinking. This isn't about getting fancy with stock picks or jumping into something you don't understand. It's about shifting from the mindset of a consumer to the mindset of an owner. Millionaires don't just spend less, they build ownership. They own stocks, they own real estate, they own companies, they own intellectual property, they own their time. If I were starting now, I'd look for my first or my next opportunity to shift part of my income into ownership. That might mean opening a Roth IRA or building a small product that I could sell online or investing in the kind of things that will help me launch a side business or increase my prices. No matter what it looks like, the goal is the same. Stop holding on to money out of fear. Start putting it to work. If you're serious about building wealth and shifting into the next level mindset, go watch this video next. It'll help you create the foundational habits that actually support long term wealth, not just quick wins.